And I'm very glad to start off with this interesting instrument because people might not know that you guys dabble in the microtonal world. So tell me all about this instrument.
This is my dickhead, official one of one. No, it's a Richmond Dorchester, which I think is made by Godin.
Yeah.
Which I picked up like years ago when we first kind of like, actually before the microtonal Gizzard phase. This was just like, as we all did, just kind of like trying to find the guitar,
yeah.
You know. And then anyway, like when we did the microtonal record, this was just the guitar that I had that like put the frets on, and yeah, so like all of our guitars have this like array of fretting in terms of the microtonal thing, interval, blah blah blah.
Can you explain that in layman's terms, or just like for dummies like me that don't know that type of thing?
Yeah, sure. Like to be honest, yeah. No. So essentially, like a microtonal, like there's like, if you think about like equal temperament, which is like 12 notes within an octave.
Yep.
You on certain notes, just like at our discretion, you put another fret in between to halve the note, so it's essentially a quarter tone instead of a semitone.
Okay.
And then we've kind of developed, like the tuning that we have is like a C sharp, F sharp, C sharp, F sharp, B, and E.
It's kind of like a droning thing.
Yeah, so you can kind of like drone on like various strings, but I feel like the majority of the songs are in F sharp as the drone. And it's essentially like the scale we play, I think it's kind of would be like a Dorian with like the two as microtonal, and then maybe the 6, I'm pretty sure it's microtonal.
Who in the band sent you guys down this path?
I guess Stu did. Like, we're all fans of kind of, you know, like Turkish and Middle Eastern stuff. But Stu went to Istanbul like 10 years ago or something on a holiday, and then brought like I can't remember what the instrument was, but it was like a stringed, like Turkish kind of guitar type lute, I guess.
Okay.
And then essentially, like, he just was like, "Fuck, I'm just gonna like do it myself," and then just like came up with the fret array, and then the tuning I think might be kind of like a semi-ubiquitous tuning, but I feel like he just might have been like, "This is what we're doing." So we just kind of like did it ourselves, hey? Like,
yeah.
And then just
That's what's so awesome about you guys as a band. There's no limits to what you're willing to try or do.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's on the table.
Everything's on the table, for good or for bad.
Yeah, no bad ideas left untouched.
No, for sure. Definitely.
Well, so you play this just specific to that material from that record?
For sure. Yeah, we've got a couple of microtonal records now. But yeah, they're pretty much like you can only do the microtonal thing with them. And like, yeah, I'd say like the vast majority are that scale I was talking about before, but like a couple of the songs you put a capo on the first fret, and then essentially the notes are different. So like the microtonal notes now are like in a different array. If you think about like a mode.
Yeah, you're moving the nut.
You're moving the nut, so it's up. So yeah, it's good. I feel like we've just, you know, the songs have been kicking around for so long, and we've been playing for so long, and I feel like in a way they're really cool, and it's like it's a really different thing to do, but they also are kind of like slightly binary because you kind of can't like move out of them.
Yeah.
So we'll either get some more shit on the go or just like give them a bit of a break. We'll see.
Was the learning curve coming from a standard kind of?
Learning curve was like, look, it was a little bit, but like once you kind of just like worked out, I guess, like what the scale was and like the pattern, and that kind of became muscle memory. Like, and then your playing starts to kind of adjust in that respect as well, like doing all the like trill shit. And like I kind of, when I was like a teenager, I loved like just like, I don't know, like that kind of cheesy like R&B folk like stuff with like open tunings. So to me, it was kind of like slightly familiar territory as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like for a little while, Cook, who's the other guitarist in the band, he had the same thing, but he had it tuned to standard, so he would have played it completely differently, which kind of works in the context, but it's like you kind of can't do the drone as easy.
Yeah.
You can't just fall back on like what's easy. Anyway.
Now, did you play this a lot, this guitar, before it became the dickhead microtonal instrument?
I feel like I did. Like, I reckon I would have done like maybe like the Your Mind Fuzz record on this, because I wrote we recorded a lot of that at Daptone in New York, in Brooklyn. And I remember I wrote that was at Daptone. So I feel like there was a couple of years when this was like maybe my primary guitar or one of my guitars.
Yeah.
But it's been since maybe 2017. I've been running it as a microtonal dickhead.
Did you hammer in the frets? Did you have like an actual luthier friend?
We had a luthier friend do
Okay.
it. The guy who built Stu's guitar for him, who you'll talk to him about.
Okay.
He did all that stuff. So yeah.
Well, let's move on to the last guitar
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I'm
sure.
sure people are familiar with.
So this is the Flying Microtonal Banana, or Banana, as you say. And it's,
So this started, I imagine, the adventure of...
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So story goes, we kind of got like interested in microtonal music kind of first. And it was probably through just listening to like Turkish psych and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Also went to Turkey on a vacation, came home with a bağlama, which is like a fretted thing, and was kind of fooling around with that. And I was like, oh yeah, it's got all these extra frets. That's why it sounds so cool. It's kind of hitting all these notes in between the notes. It's kind of blown my mind. And I think at one point there was an idea to incorporate the bağlama into some Gizzard music.
Yeah.
But it's an acoustic instrument at the end of the day. It's got a pickup in it, the one I've got or whatever. But we're a pretty loud band, and
Yeah.
so it's sort of
Hard to keep up.
the logical thing to do was to create like an electric guitar that kind of can emulate some of those sounds. And just had a very serendipitous moment where Zach Eccles, who's like a Melbourne guitar maker,
Okay.
hit me up. Never met him before, and he said, "Hey, would you ever be interested in me building a guitar for you?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, that's so."
boogie, yeah.
I'm into like microtonal music, man. You know, do something like that. And he's like, "All right, sweet." So we came up with this.
Wow.
And so this was built by Zach, and he did an amazing job. And it's that's it says it on the back. It's 2015. 2015.
Who came up with the body design?
We kind of shot like some references at each other, and I think Zach sort of ended up with this design. I kind of was saying what I was sort of into at the time, and I mean, we ended up naming it the Flying Microtonal Banana for like kind of obvious reasons, really. So it's got a flying V-ish type of shape. It's banana coloured. it's microtonal, so everyone thinks it's a kooky name, but it's actually just like
It's practical.
it's a practical name. Yeah.
Can we hear it?
Yeah, so it's we're kind of tuning it. Let's clean this up a bit. Kind of like we've got an open-ish tuning kind of thing going on here, where it's like a F sharp sort of open thing, and these ones are they're kind of where makes sense to us.
So was the fret placement like trial and error?
The fret placement was copying the bağlama.
Okay.
It was it was like,
roadmap.
well, with the bağlama you can adjust frets. They're actually kind of on, they're movable frets. Like a sitar and a lot of instruments have that, I suppose. But I needed something that was fixed.
Yeah.
We needed to kind of commit to that. And so there's a certain, I guess like kind of scale that the bağlama that I bought was in. It just was in.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is rad. I like this. This is cool. So we kind of emulated that. We also, we simplified it in a lot of ways. Like Turkish music is very nuanced, and you wouldn't always have a fret right in between. I guess 50 cents is what you would say, or 24 tones an octave, I guess.
Uh-huh.
You wouldn't do that in Turkish music, but we wanted to do that so we could play with each other. So we came up with like a fret arrangement that made sense for everybody. And Joe's guitar is fretted identically to mine.
Okay.
Cook and Lucas, they don't play in the open tuning, so they have a different fret arrangement, which allows them to hit the same notes in standard tuning.
Okay.
So we can kind of play different stuff to each other too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like definitely having a conversation.
We can have a conversation with each other. It's nice. But yeah, I love this guitar. I feel ultra inspired by it all the time. We haven't made new microtonal music in a bit, probably due to at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll revisit.
Yeah, we'll get there. It's like we did the first record. Yeah, I guess that came out in 2017. We recorded it in 2016, and then we did like a kind of back-to-back two more in maybe it was 21 and 22. And then by the time we'd got up to that, it was like we need to revisit this thing. Like we're ready to hit that again, and maybe in a couple more years we'll be like, okay, let's do that again. Let's make another record of microtonal music. But
you guys don't get bored.
Well, I don't know. Music's an ocean, I suppose.
Yeah. Swim around until you hit that plastic, the floating plastic.
Exactly.
Mob.
Yeah.